Okay, so we have a cost question here. I can get 5 apples for $6. How many can we get for $30? Okay, so a couple ways to do this. I guess like most rate problems, multiple ways of doing things. And so let's get started. What we could do is we could say, okay, 5 apples will get for $6. And so we could come up with a unit rate out of that and say 5 divided by 6 on the calculator, and comes out to something not ideal, but it's a repeating 3 there. So we'll just mark it as a repeating 3 just because as we go forward with calculations, try not to round off too much here. But the units for that would be apples per dollar. Now, had you started off with dollars per apple, that's fine. You could work with that too. But this is the way I've laid it out here so far. And what we have here is a unit rate. That is 0.833 apples per dollar, which is kind of weird. You're not gonna get it 0.83 of an apple, but nevertheless, that we consider our unit rate. And now, if we wanted to, we could say, let's take that 0.833 and we'll include the units, apples per dollar. And how many can we get for $30? And so 30, and double check here, and we can see that the dollars cancel out and we're left with apples, and we're looking for how many apples. So that all makes sense. So into our calculator, 0.83333, a bunch of threes, and multiply by 30, and we come up with 25. And so with the dollars canceled, we're left with apples as our unit, and that makes sense. How many apples? So perfectly good. Let me point out that had you started off much the same way and you said 5 apples over $6, and you said, let's make an equivalent ratio here, and 30, and so we say, well, getting from 6 to 30, we would have to multiply by 5, and so what we would do is multiply by 5 here, and so 5 times 5 would give us 25 apples. And sure enough, that confirms perfectly fine. Now, just to clarify, if somebody came along and they said, okay, let's put the dollars on top and the apples on the bottom, you may get to this step here and say, oh, well, just 1 second here. I would end up with dollars on the top, apples on the bottom, and I'm trying to multiply that out, and the units won't cancel out. So it'll be a nice way to check that out. So you could either resort to dividing instead, or you could just go back and do your unit ratio the other way, and it'll all work out nicely. So anyways, just point that out as something to catch yourself if you find that you're in a weird situation. And again, that's one of the advantages of checking your units at that point, is that if you did get it backwards, you will know at that point that your units are a bit messed up, and you would stop with that rather than pushing ahead and getting the totally wrong answer. So again, stopping and canceling your units partway through, definitely a great way to avoid problems.